Hey friends! Today we are going to talk about apologizing, saying I'm sorry. Please stay tuned if you are interested to hear all about this. Alright, today we're going to talk about apologizing. We're going to talk about why we do it and different ways of going about it instead of saying I'm sorry. So here we go. Boom, boom. Ah! Okay, everybody. So first things first, apologizing is a good thing, right? So there have been a lot of talks about apologizing too much. How do we stop saying I'm sorry? All that stuff. And we're going to get there. But first I want to say that apologizing is a really good thing. It's a way that we show if we really do feel bad for what we did. It's a way of acknowledging that we broke rules. Apologizing can be a really fantastic thing. But with apologizing and every other thing in this world, it needs to be balanced. Right? So, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Okay guys, so learning to apologize appropriately is a skill. It's just like going to the gym and like working out a muscle. We have like apology muscles, everybody. So we need to find ways to work on balancing that apology muscle to make sure that it's on point and we're not using it too much and we're not using it too little. So typically, you know, if you're a person that's apologizing too much or if you're a person that really has difficulties apologizing. So let's first start talking to the people who are apologizing too much. Too much, eh? Okay, most of the time that people apologize too much, it's because they have typically grown up in an environment where apologizing fixes things, or they've lived in an environment where apologizing appears to fix things. So for example, for most people, if they are in a disagreement with somebody and they just say, okay, I'm sorry, oftentimes it ends that disagreement, but it removes all of your power. And many times in disagreements, it's not just one person's right and one person's wrong, right? It's not like that. And so when somebody just gives in and apologizes and says, all right, you know what, I'm sorry. Oftentimes that's just a way to take blame so you can move past the situation. And so of course, sometimes that's okay, right? But oftentimes we find ourselves doing that more often than we would like just to move past something. And it really can take a hit on our self-esteem. Also, oftentimes I see if people are currently in or have been in relationships that were abusive, so maybe grew up in an abusive home when they were a child, or have been in abusive relationships while dating, or are currently in an abusive relationship, oftentimes that works perfectly in an abusive relationship because it's the person, oftentimes the person who's being abused, is taking all the blame for everything, so then the abuser gets the power. So that's another area that I see this coming up with us. And also, one of the big, huge areas I see where people are over apologizing is people who struggle with anxiety. And so people who struggle with anxiety, oftentimes they say whatever's quick and easy that comes to the top of their head, and an apology might be just that. And so with this, if we take a deep breath and really think before we speak, if we can kind of calm and control that anxiety, perhaps we can get to this next point I'm going to make of what we can do differently instead of apologizing. So one of the things we've heard a lot of lately is instead of apologizing, saying thank you. But I'd like to talk of a couple different scenarios where that might fit. So one of the examples is if you're late. And so you run into the girls' night that you're supposed to be at, and you're 10 minutes late and you run and you say, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry for being late. Just get the blame out there, right? Instead of saying sorry, I'm late, you can say I'm sorry in that situation, right? That's an option, of course. But instead of saying that, perhaps you could say, thank you guys for being so patient for me. I was running late. No apology needed, right? Another example that I find myself apologizing a lot in is when somebody has to physically move for me. So for example, if I'm at an event and you know, like those super squished in chairs that we sit in, and one person gets up, usually me, that has to go to the bathroom, and every person I walk in front of, I say, oh, sorry, excuse me, oh, sorry, excuse me, oh, sorry, excuse me, oh, hey, sorry, excuse me. Instead of saying that, just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you as you walk by. No need to apologize. Okay guys, another hot area that we oftentimes find ourselves apologizing in is when we become extremely emotional. And so we even do this with like our closest friends. And so we'll have a conversation with our friend and we're sobbing and we're crying and we're looking for advice and we just want to be snuggled and cuddled and told it's going to be okay. And when we're all done, we say, I am so sorry that you had to see me like that. I'm so sorry I came to you and was a blubbering mess. Are you really sorry? Or are we so thankful and so grateful that that person cherishes us and cherishes our friendship and was there for us? So instead of, I'm sorry you had to see me like that, it's, thank you so much for being there when I needed you so bad. Does that make sense, guys? To kind of shift our thinking instead of us apologizing, to thank people for what they did. And it does a couple things for us. It increases our self-esteem because let's be honest, when we're apologizing, we are feeling like a burden. We are feeling like we're not worthy. We are feeling like we are a nuisance, that we are a waste of somebody's time. And that, my friends, is not true. But what we are is we're amazing human beings that are deserving of all these people around us that love us and can remind them of how thankful we are for what they're doing for us. No more apologizing, friends, in scenarios where it's not necessary. No more. Remember, this is a muscle that we're building, and so an apology is warranted sometimes. When you do something that you feel like was not right, that you feel like did not sit with your morals and values, that you feel like just needs an apology, girl, you do it. You do it. But make sure you're not apologizing for the little stuff that's really just pushing you down. I hope this video was helpful, you guys. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you liked it and drop a comment below if you have any questions. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.